The top-level PC exclusive has become a bit of a rarity. Franchises that were originally associated with PC and developed by PC-centric developers, such as Doom and Company of Heroes, have now permanently straddled the PC and console markets, and games like Football Manager, which is basically a really fancy spreadsheet, have regular console editions. Heck, console gamers even got all the classic CRPGs like Baldur's Gate and Planescape Torment a few years back. The C stands for computer, guys, not console. That doesn't necessarily mean those console owners are getting the best of both worlds though. A top-notch PC will usually offer the best performance for tech-savvy gamers, and PC gamers have access to an almost unlimited modding scene. On top of all of that, and most importantly for this list, there are still some great PC-only titles out there that you just can't get on consoles. And in this video, we're going to celebrate some of them. So turn on your water cooling, light up those neon strips, and apply plenty of lovely thermal paste, because we've come up with a 10-strong list of delights that can only be experienced on the personal computer. I'm Ashton from Triple Jump, and here are 10 PC video game classics that you need to play. Number 10, Sid Meier's Civilization 4. Civilization is one of PC gaming's most venerable and beloved franchises, consisting of 6 numbered entries and a smattering of spin-offs. Civilization has approached household name status and is the go-to for strategic games with a megalomaniacal side. While the more recent Civilization games are great examples of the genre, and many of the older titles have aged gracefully, we chose Civilization 4 as the pinnacle, for its charming presentation and the sheer depth of its gameplay. The aim is to build a formidable global empire from humble beginnings, and the ways you go about this are numerous and diverse. Military might, diplomacy, technical advancements, and, for the first time in the series, the power of religion are all valid routes to the top. Gameplay is turn-based, and each turn will provide plenty of problems to overcome and opportunities to exploit, with players managing combat, technology, resources, buildings, governments, and more over campaigns that span millennia. It might sound like a lot to think about, but Civilization 4 presents its world-dominating gameplay in such a way that makes it easy to get started. So if you were ever wondering what it might be like to hold the fates of nations in your hands, then this may well be the game for you. Number 9, Roller Coaster Tycoon 2. The PC is home to a host of immersive tycoon games, all ready to eat up the valuable time of those enticed by a bit of simulated business management. Zoo Tycoon enables the creation of beautiful 2D animal parks, Transport Tycoon was there for players with a penchant for managing planes, trains and automobiles, and Game Dev Tycoon is a game specifically developed to simulate the practice of developing games. Before we spiral too far into Tycoonception though, let's bring up the title that we'd argue is a cherry on top of the PC exclusive simulation scene, Roller Coaster Tycoon 2. Perfecting the formula set up by its predecessor, Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 was released in 2002. It melded the joy and vibrancy of amusement parks with the addictiveness and intrigue of the management sim, tasking players with creating and managing their own parks, taking care of things like staffing, budget balancing and amenities, while also getting creative with ride placement and the construction of those all-important roller coasters. An absolute classic of the genre, Roller Coaster Tycoon 2 nails the balance between challenge and creative freedom in a way that will keep you coming back, determined to build the most magical place on Earth. Oh, sorry, did I say magical? I meant to say profitable. The most profitable place on Earth. Number 8, Stalker: Shadow of Chernobyl. Open world shooters are 10 a penny nowadays, but few capture a sense of foreboding and discovery quite so effectively as Stalker: Shadow of Chernobyl. Released in 2007, this atmospheric adventure puts players in the sturdy boots of a man known as the Marked One, who must explore a mysterious area called the Zone. Said zone is the real-life Chernobyl exclusion zone, after a fictional second disaster that resulted in bizarre changes to local wildlife and strange reality-warping anomalies cropping up. This blending of real life and science fiction makes Stalker's premise all the more fascinating, and is largely responsible for the game's status as a cult hit with a persistent fan base. That and the excellent gunplay that leads to chaotic and authentic feeling firefights. If you're looking for a more modern successor to sink your teeth into, the Metro series has a similar setting and energy, but you shouldn't need to go down that route, as Stalker itself is still a fun game to play. We would recommend downloading some of the fan-made mods that fix the glitches though. The original Stalker: Shadow of Chernobyl had more bugs than punctuation marks in its title. Number 7, Battlefield 2. The Battlefield series has made quite a name for itself since Battlefield 1942 came out in 2002. differentiating itself from the likes of Call of Duty with its larger maps and focus on team-based gameplay and combined arms warfare. The franchise has maintained a status of prominence in the industry, with titles like Battlefield 3 and Battlefield Bad Company and its sequel earning legendary shooter status. PC gaming veterans, however, might tell you that Battlefield 2 represents the franchise at its best, and this gem of the Battlefield back catalogue never came to console. Released in 2005, the multiplayer-focused Battlefield 2 was the first in the series to really lean into the cooperation aspect, with players choosing from a selection of infantry types, organising themselves into squads, and taking advantage of the air and land-based vehicles to suppress the enemy. Despite the GameSpy servers being shut down, this 18-year-old game is still easily playable online today, and offers a pure multiplayer gameplay experience from a time when gaming was starting to employ a more realistic approach to multiplayer shooters, rather than the Unreal-style enclosed deathmatches of yesteryear. Community-run servers are still full to this day, so why not give it a go? Or are you going to play Battlefield 2042 instead? Yeah, didn't think so. Number 6, System Shock. This may come as a shock to the system, but System Shock has never been ported to any console, despite its spiritual successor series BioShock being all over consoles from the get-go. It is, however, still a very good game, and one whose influence can be felt far and wide. Released in 1994, which makes it the oldest game on our list, System Shock puts players in the role of an unnamed hacker on a space station that's been overrun by a villainous AI known as Shodan. Relieved of its ethical constraints by the aforementioned hacker before the events of the game, Shodan has done a number on the space station's biological residents, and has set all the robotic ones to kill mode. This all results in an atmospheric first-person adventure that was revolutionary for its time, and whose story and setting are still just as compelling today. The controls are a bit outdated, but there's an enhanced edition that goes some way to fixing that by adding mod cons like Mouse Look, helping you to get past the clunky movements and immerse yourself into a creepy cyberpunk world full of retro appeal and crazy colourful corridors. Or you could try 2023's remake, but that's coming out for consoles, so it's not allowed on this list. Go on, shoo. Number 5, FTL, Faster Than Light. Many of the most successful indie games start life on PC and show up on consoles once they're proven moneymakers. The likes of Minecraft, Terraria and RimWorld all made the jump, but one top-notch indie darling that stayed put is Subset Games' FTL Faster Than Light. Classified as a real-time strategy roguelike, FTL puts players in command of a spaceship and its crew. Said ship is in possession of some critical information that must be delivered to an allied fleet, with heavily armed rebel ships in hot pursuit. The gameplay boils down to making faster-than-light jumps from sector to sector, managing factors like fuel, oxygen and shields, and dealing with any surprises that the game's procedural generation might throw at you. Unsurprisingly, piloting a ship with war critical information on it while being pursued by a hostile fleet is no easy task. FTL is a tough game, with players constantly finding themselves outclassed by enemy warships and barely managing to keep their crew alive in the face of dwindling resources. If you're brave enough to take the captain's chair, however, you'll find that FTL offers a detailed and fascinating experience that really makes you appreciate what the likes of Picard and Kirk went through on a daily basis. Really unnecessary subtitle though when you think about it. Number 4, World of Warcraft. The MMORPG is one of those genres that's synonymous with PC gaming. The platform has hosted a veritable galaxy of online worlds for players to explore, and many of them are showing no signs of going offline. The likes of RuneScape, Star Wars The Old Republic and Guild Wars 2 are all providing exploration and escapism for armchair adventurers the world over as we speak. None of these worlds, however, are quite as iconic as the world of Warcraft. On its 9th expansion at the time of writing, Blizzard's genre-defining MMO is absolutely loaded with content. Its fantastical world is filled with rolling plains, fetid swamps, blasted wastelands, lush forests, and mysterious ruins to explore, all steeped in the Warcraft series' pre-existing and ever-expanding lore. Originally released in 2004, the basic WoW experience has been tweaked and streamlined into what we know today, an accessible MMORPG that anyone from casual explorers to top-level raid leaders can easily lose days of their life to. We were going to mention World of Warcraft's strategic predecessor, Warcraft 3 Reign of Chaos 2, but unfortunately that particular PC great got absolutely shafted by its Reforged update. Maybe you should play World of Warcraft now, before Blizzard decides to reforge that as well. Number 3, StarCraft 2. The RTS genre, despite being most comfortably controlled with a mouse and keyboard, is surprisingly limited when it comes to top-notch PC exclusives, with the likes of Command & Conquer, Age of Empires 2, and the original StarCraft all making forays into the console world. StarCraft 2, however, made no such inroads, earning it a place on our hallowed list. This RTS sequels campaign was split into 3 installments, each one focusing on one of the franchise's 3 iconic factions. 2010's Wings of Liberty told the story of the Terrans, 2013's Heart of the Swarm took place inside the alien hive mind of the Zerg, and 2015's Legacy of the Void presented events from the point of view of the ancient and advanced Protoss. Each campaign provides tons of lore and action for fans to sink their teeth into, but like its predecessor, StarCraft 2 really became a phenomenon thanks to its multiplayer. A mainstay of esports events, StarCraft 2 has been played professionally around the world since its initial release, and smooth gameplay, intuitive controls, balanced factions, and a wealth of strategic options all make for a compelling competitive experience. Don't worry if you can't quite manage 600 mouse clicks per minute, the campaign is perfectly accessible for those without superhuman powers of cognition and finger dexterity. Number 2, The Sims 3. Yes, okay, we are breaking our exclusivity rule with this one, but we'd argue that while The Sims 3 did appear on consoles, it was missing the open world aspect, imposed limits on building, and had a number of other limitations that made the PC version stand out as the best way to play the game. So let's call it a wildcard entry and move on, yeah? The Sims franchise has been an institution since its debut in 2000, giving players the opportunity to create and play with digital people known as Sims, overseeing their lives and managing their employment, entertainment, decor, and relationships. While each main incarnation of the series brought its own charms and features, The Sims 3 is the most complete of the bunch, granting open neighbourhoods to explore, giving creative players the ability to make their own designs, and allowing for more variety in Sims' personalities with the trait system. Whether you want your little family to rise to the very top of society and live in the finest mansion in town, or you'd rather ignore the needy little blighters altogether and concentrate on the interior design aspect, The Sims 3 offers limitless entertainment. And yes, you can torture them, set fire to them, and trap them in tiny enclosed spaces. That is also a valid way to play the game. And number 1, Total War Warhammer 3. One franchise that will likely never appear on console is Creative Assembly's Total War series. The combination of detailed cinematic real-time strategy and Risk-style turn-based world domination and diplomacy just doesn't feel like it would fit on console. That's not to say it will never happen, anything's possible. But for now, Total War is PC through and through. Probably best known for its historical titles like Rome, Shogun, and Medieval, the Total War series has been going strong since its inception. But we've decided to go with the more recent release at time of writing, the colourfully violent and decidedly non-historical Total War Warhammer 3. Mixing the franchise's realistically simulated battles and remarkable depth with the endless lore and iconic imagery of Games Workshop's fantastical tabletop game setting proved to be a masterstroke. It gave would-be warlords a chance to pit orcs against elves, griffins against dinosaurs, and ratmen against demons, all backed up by Total War's tried and tested mechanics. If fire-breathing dragons aren't your thing though, then the Total War series can take you all through the history of traditional warfare and back again, from the Trojan War to the rise of Napoleon. We like the dragons though, so we'll be over here playing as Malekith, the Witch King of Nagaroth, if you don't mind.